Right, here we go, people. Let's get it. Sleeves up. It's Premier League guide time. Once more, here we go. 23-24 season. This is the video where we tell you everything you need to know about the upcoming Premier League season. Except no, it's not just one video this time. It's going to be a three-part trilogy where we'll be diving into the three big talking points for every single club, starting off with every team's biggest strength going into the new season. Arsenal, depth for days. Arsenal have so much depth, there's a good chance a submarine will go missing at the Emirates this season. You can also expect terrible jokes like that all season long. The depth that Arsenal have, in my opinion, will mean that they can have different tactical outlays for different matches, which may give them a better chance when they face a team like Man City in October of this season. So, for example, we've put Trossard in our left centre midfield position, that 8 position, or attacking 8, because he may start the season in that position. But there are options, you know, Smith Rowe, Trossard, as I've said, Havertz, Rice. And that is why Arsenal are so strong going into this season. The squad building has been fantastic. Because on the flip side, we've got Arsenal who have experimented with Rice as a left-sided centre midfielder and Partey at the base of midfield. And against the better teams, this could be a huge tactical edge and will solidify their midfield. They also have Kai Havertz to throw into the mix at some point as well. So all in all, they have 2 players in each position that are all good enough to start, apart from one position. But that'll be revealed in part 3. Aston Villa, multifunctional players is the big strength for Aston Villa going into the new season. We may see a new look Aston Villa this season based on what they've been doing in pre-season and with their recruitment this summer as well. Against Brentford in pre-season, they lined up like you see here, and the only difference being McGinn in midfield and Philogene starting. But the reason for being able to do this is because of Emery's tactical flexibility, but also Villa's multifunctional players. This could massively reduce those chances of that second season syndrome that could occur, often occurs with new managers, whilst also allowing them to play a midfield 3 of Douglas Luiz, Tielemans and Kamara, which has got to get you excited. The biggest strength for Bournemouth is going to be the off-the-ball intensity under Iraola. Bournemouth are going to be one of the hardest working teams in the division this year, and quite possibly the fittest team in the league as well. I don't mean on a shallow level and like, oh, he's good looking, and they've got a few of those guys, but I mean like running. Nice. This is because Iraola's style is heavily focused around pressing, intensity, and winning the ball back as fast as possible. This also means that Bournemouth's depth in attack will come in very handy, as they'll be able to rotate frequently, meaning their levels shouldn't drop all that much. Bournemouth are going to be really exciting to watch this season. Brentford, dynamism. Last season, Brentford averaged only 10.3 progressive carries per 90. This was the lowest in the Premier League. But this year, it could actually be a big strength for the team without Ivan Toney. That is obviously a big talking point when it comes to Brentford. And the front 3 that we have here has immense pace and will be very effective in counter-attacking situations. And with the method of play Brentford have, and in how they look to capitalise as much as possible in turnover scenarios and look to build up their XG as much as possible, I think you're going to see a very different Brentford this season. I also think, you know, 3rd season in the Premier League now, they are looking to evolve. I think that was in their plans anyway. So keep an eye out for the likes of Sade, Mbuemo, Wissa, and even Damsgaard, tasked with carrying the ball in turnover situations. For Brighton, it's all about chance creation. Brighton averaged 28.6 shot creating actions per 90 last season. The only team that averaged more was Man City. Now, this meant that they averaged 16 shots per game, which was actually the highest of any team last season in the Premier League. Their chance creation is ludicrously good, and it's only a matter of time before someone in their team bags 20 goals in a season. They have loads of strikers, so again, they might be able to mix it up a little bit, but it could be João Pedro, the new signing. He's been on fire in pre-season. The biggest strength for Burnley is the surprise factor that they have this year. Everybody expects Burnley to be this dominant, possession-based team and that is stuck in their ways when it comes to a tactical style. This is understandable considering that Burnley had 64% possession on average last season, the highest of any championship team. However, Company is much more flexible than that, and has actually been using a 4-4-2 in pre-season. This could see Burnley operate with a mid-block while still having width when going forward. The fascinating thing about the tactic is that it may mean the fullbacks become inverted in the initial stages of play, which will allow for them to play through the third, similar to how Brighton did last year. Burnley are going to catch a lot of people out this year, I think. Chelsea look like they're going to be really bold this year. Chelsea are going to surprise a few people, I think, this season, not only with just how quickly it's refreshed and how positive the squad looks, but also in how the tactical approach unfolds on the pitch. In pre-season, they have been really good and experimented with a few different players in different positions, which I think is exciting from a squad rotation perspective. But the most striking thing from pre-season is the diamond box Poch has began using on the left-hand side of the pitch. Players used in these positions have been varied, with Maatsen being pretty epic from the left and Chukwuemeka also being used as a 10. Actually, Maatsen's kind of playing like a winger at times for them, and kind of did that for Burnley as well last season in a very, aggressive and attacking team. But the basis of it is that play is funneled down the left. This opens space on the right-hand side of the pitch, and someone like Madueke being there with a lot of space and pace, it's been working really, really well. Crystal Palace, they've got really talented individuals. That's a big strength here, because I'm a bit underwhelmed with Palace at the minute, but that's going to be discussed in part 2. So again, make sure you subscribe. Palace's big strength this year will be the quality of some of their individuals. So in terms of the team, they have a lot of hard workers to start with, and then this could definitely provide a base in which it allows the likes of Eze and França to be the main protagonists within this side. The midfield pairing of Lerma and Decore will work well, in my opinion, when it comes to work rate, and I think that means that Eze's main role will be within the final third, and that's how you get the best out of him. I also expect there to be some really exciting combination play between Eze and França on the left. Another team that are going to be really fun to watch this year. Everton could be really tough to beat this season, currently undefeated in pre-season as well, which means nothing, but something as well. The main focus of Everton's pre-season has been fitness, with Dyche saying that he doesn't really care about the score and more so cares about the condition of the players. A byproduct of this has been that Everton have looked really fit in pre-season and are able to make things happen at the end of matches. Onana scored a late winner against Stoke the other week, and it was because they were able to keep their foot on the pedal throughout. Everton's fitness this season will be the highest it's been since David Moyes, I think. And I think it will make them a very resolute side that win matches through percentages. Fulham's great strength is the spine of the team. At the time of recording, it looks like the interest in Palhinha has cooled off quite a lot, with Fulham sticking their chests out and demanding a lot of money. He's also obviously had that little injury as well. Also, from a Fulham perspective, that's got to feel good that you've got him. Keeping Palhinha is so important in terms of strengths of this Fulham side. With what he offers in winning the ball back and making the spine of the team so strong, it's a huge positive. The spine of Fulham looks very strong again this year, with Bassi joining too, and Mitrovic also looking like he's going to end up staying as well. Liverpool, goals, 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 and even more goals. Liverpool could be the team that scores the most goals in the Premier League this season, with what we've been seeing in pre-season. In their first 4 pre-season matches, they've scored a total of 15 goals, and their attacking output has been phenomenal. Against Leicester in pre-season, they were just so smooth in the moves that they put together, and Alexis McAllister looked awesome. They also showed a nice aspect of their play against Bayern, with Gakpo and Jota swapping positions in-game, which I thought was a really nice little nuance to their tactics. But Liverpool have so many attackers who could go off this season. Nunez and Salah will have amazing seasons, in my opinion. Luton's big strength is the collective and the unorthodox approach of which they play. Those who watched Luton last season will know that their style of play is a bit different to most other teams, and those who didn't watch Luton last year are in for a treat this season. Their style of play can be it can be very direct at times, but they don't always hoof it. Instead, they look to manipulate space in midfield with their attacking 8s, aggressively targeting space in the half spaces. This style of play can be very difficult to play against and also defend against because of the movement of the Luton players, with them not always making the same movements and having diversity in their roles. They could be a really difficult team to play against this year. And by the way, my podcast on Spotify, but it's everywhere. You can get it absolutely everywhere. The Ripple Effect. This last week, we spoke with Ali Maxwell, an absolute expert on those newly promoted teams. So if you want to know more about the newly promoted teams, make sure you check out the Ripple Effect. Man City obviously have so many strengths, but tactical unpredictability could certainly be one. We've tried to predict it early. We've done a video on Pep and what we think he might be up to, and the fact that we feel like this is going to be the year of the 8 this season. If you haven't checked out that video, it's done really well. People seem to have really enjoyed it. So again, another thing to check out on the JLA channel. But Man City and Pep have made it very hard to create a predicted lineup based on what they've been doing in pre-season. So as we know, last season they did the treble, of course, and with their 3-2-5 tactic that teams never seem to have an answer for. But this year they could change it again. Man City have experimented with a 4-2-3-1 and a 4-1-3-2 in pre-season, but one thing is for sure, Pep has something planned, and it may involve two strikers. I think Alvarez has got a big part to play this season. The tactical unpredictability of Pep is going to make it very difficult for opponents to plan ahead, and it's also going to be a nightmare in FPL. Man United, it's going to be their free-flowing attack. Last season, Man United only scored 58 goals in the Premier League, making them only the 7th best attack. This was derived at times by not having the quality of some of the other teams in the forward areas, and at times it was Rashford and Bruno doing all the heavy lifting in terms of output and goals. This season that could all change with the profiles that they've added into their squad. The Mount capture is no doubt going to be one of the blinding lights in this Man United team, but so is Højlund. Man United are going to have a much more holistic attack this season, and it's going to add 15 goals to their total from last season. They're also going to be pretty frightening in transition, I think. Newcastle, the midfield quality. I think in this predicted lineup, you're only seeing part of the reason as to why Newcastle's midfield is so good. The starting trio of Tonali, Joelinton and Guimaraes is no doubt going to be unreal this season, and they will boss a lot of matches. But Newcastle also have the likes of Willock, Elliot Anderson and Lewis Miley, all capable of coming into the starting lineup. What I like most about the midfield is the varying skill sets that they have. So, for instance, Guimaraes is an exceptional progressor of the ball. Joelinton can do a bit of everything. Tonali is totally underrated in his chance creation. Meanwhile, you have Joe Willock, who registered 6 assists last season. And to top it off, you have two young midfielders in Anderson and Miley, who they look a cut above in terms of carrying the ball through the thirds and even into the box. Nottingham Forest, if they can carry on from last year, the big strength will be that home form. In terms of home form alone, Forest would have been 10th in the table last season. I think Forest have an identity when playing at home, and the support from the stands can be incredibly infectious, and we saw that towards the end of last season with Gibbs White when he made that tackle and he raised his hands to the crowd in celebration, and creating that fortress mentality at home again. It was certainly their biggest strength towards the end of last season. Actually, over the turn of the year as well. I remember January, they're looking really strong in terms of their home form. Second season, will there be that same energy from the Forest fans? I think there will be, especially now that Forest have discovered their Premier League identity in a sense. Sheffield United, it's going to be about the back five. That will be a big strength for them because Sheffield United had the joint second best defence last season in the Championship, conceding a total of 39 goals. But this is only a small part of the reason why the back five will be their strength this season. If you have a look back at when Sheffield United got promoted under Wilder, their overlapping centre-backs caused havoc in the league because, well, nobody saw it coming. Well, under Heckingbottom, they've continued doing it. And the beauty of this is that there's been a lot of change in the Premier League in terms of managerial changes since Sheffield United were last in the league, meaning that the overlapping centre-backs could come back around and catch people off guard again. Tottenham, the final third. Tottenham are going to run rampant in the final third this season, and it's no doubt going to be their biggest strength this year. Ange commits so many bodies forward in attack, and this often creates opportunities for quick, delicate passages of play, but more importantly, goal-scoring chances. This is a screenshot from their pre-season match against the mighty Lion City Sailors FC. Now, regardless of the opposition, this is still a good insight into their final third play. They have 7 bodies in the final third, and the end result of this was that Lo Celso picked up a goal because the ball fell to him. That just wouldn't have happened if they hadn't have committed that body forward. West Ham, maybe a new style of play could be the new strength. Now, something new is coming from David Moyes and West Ham this season, and I think it has serious potential. They've almost exclusively played with a 4-4-2 in pre-season, and it seems like it works very well with the profile of players that they have at their disposal right this second. And what I like the most about it is the positioning of Bowen, who now has more space to work with and will receive the ball a lot more, which we actually talk about in a video where I put forward 12 players that have been killing it over pre-season. Bowen is in that. But go check out all the other ones. Bowen's going to have that license to carry it from the middle third into the final third. And I also like the idea of playing 2 strikers. I've been seriously impressed with Divin Mubama in pre-season. And if this system allows West Ham to play him regularly this season, then, you know, bring it on. West Ham, I know people are nervous about them, but they might be just fine. For Wolves, it's got to be all about the defence. Wolves conceded a total of 58 goals last season. In total, 6 teams conceded more than them, Spurs being one of them. and it was ultimately what kept Wolves up, with the attack being very lackluster again. But I think the defence again will be the aspect of their play this season that matters most. So far in pre-season, they are yet to concede more than 1 goal in a game and have even beaten Porto 1-0, which is an impressive result when you consider Porto played the likes of Taremi, Galeno and Otavio in that match. If they can keep the number of goals conceded to 50 or under, it'll probably be a solid season for Wolves. Don't miss out on parts 2 and 3 of the trilogy. If you don't want to miss out, then make sure you subscribe to the channel.